tried to finagle like a TWC gang sign, but I don't have the figure articulation. I'll come up with something. If you hear crazy barking and stuff, I have like 1 million dogs in my home right now, and Breeze is meeting Fritz, and his play behaviors are so, because he's been restricted from dogs for so long, his play behaviors are still developing, like recalibrating. So, and he's just doing cattle dog stuff, like they freeze and then they play, and then they freeze, and it just like, it's crazy. So when we last talked, did I mention what I have coming up?
Kind of briefly, yeah. You talked a little bit about the dog from wherever overseas. I can't remember now.
Okay.
The very scared
so
dog.
I have an update on stuff. I now have 4 dogs coming. I have 4 dogs starting.
So many.
3 starting this month, and then 1 starting the next month. All right. So I'm just going to give you the rundown, and then we can go into whatever you want. The more recent one that I just signed on yesterday, I think we could talk about. I think it's interesting. So starting, assuming that my in-home evaluation with this dog next weekend does not go catastrophically wrong, I'm going to be getting that Purities, who's just kind of being a bully around the house to the other dogs and to the boyfriend. And I'm only going to have him for like 4 weeks. He's a totally untrained dog. It's an excuse for me to start with a really challenging breed to like engage and do, that's untampered by other training, and to do just a full obedience program. I think it's going to be kind of interesting, and I'm going to try really hard to get him to play. A week after that, I have Bazooka, a German Shepherd from North Carolina that lives on the 14th floor of an apartment building. And did I talk about him already?
I only know about him because of like your stories on Instagram, but I don't
think I've talked about him on the program, right? Not on the program. So on the program, we'll talk about him quickly. Now we can go into it. Explosively dog reactive, reacts to dogs out of the window on the 14th floor. So he sees little specks on the ground, and he can tell what's a dog. And they are 1 strike away from getting kicked out of the building, or the guy having to get rid of the dog. Then I have the dog from South Korea, Mongoon, that extremely shut down dog. And then yesterday, I had a Malinois rescue reach out to me. And I believe in early April, I'm going to be taking on a backyard bred, unhinged young Mal named Aries, great name, to try to prepare him for a new home. So I have a lot of stuff. Imagine being, I thought about this the other day. I was like, imagine being like a Cabral bro, and it's like, yeah, fuck Dylan, like disavow, he's a cancer, and then it's like, in the aftermath, it's like, wait, we unfollowed the guy in the situation that actually trains dogs. It's like, wait, we're still just getting porch videos, and Dylan's like actually doing cool shit. There, very quick before we go on the dogs, there is a very funny phenomenon, and I'm not calling these people out. I think I genuinely, I get it. There are people that, there's a few that I know for sure, but I know that there has to be more, that unfollowed, unfriended, all of that at the command of the poor junkie, right? This guy, fuck him, we got to destroy his career, wreck his income, no more attention, blah, blah, blah. They unfollowed me. And recently they've started coming back around from the shadows to like things and comment on things.
It's funny.
And there's one person of sort of like renown that refriended. And I'm not, like, I think it's funny. I'm not knocking anybody for having that knee-jerk reaction kind of following the leader. Like, I get it. But it is funny in the aftermath. It's like, wait, things are just going as normal, which is slop content creators are still vomiting slop, and Dylan is still training dogs. Anyways, this is an example of that. So 4 dogs coming.
Okay.
Are we back?
Yep.
All right. Technical segment, tech support segment is over.
Yes.
Resident Evil 9 comes out tomorrow, by the way. I'm fucking losing it. Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah, the return of Leon. Leon Kennedy's back. So
still grinding that 99 construction on RuneScape. So
all right, based. So Malinois Rescue, a good friend of the program. His name's Mitz. He's an Indian individual, if I remember correctly. He's also a TWC guy. He got me in touch with the Malinois Rescue. But they have a dog that I don't think there's any way anyone could reverse engineer this and go harass the people. Sucks I have to think about that. Because I want to talk about the problems that the dog was having in his previous home, but I don't want it to get back to the nice people and have them feel stupid. But I'm just going to speak freely about it because there's no fucking way, right? There's no way. If you go through the effort to try to track down a family to tell them that a dog trainer said they're dumb, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like this male. He's with it's like a split family co-parenting situation. It's like husband, wife, and then kid who is like weekdays over here, weekends over there, whatever. And they have a male who, the guy's like, I have years experience being a canine handler officer. And like the stuff that he's doing, I know that if I pushed him, he would just go. Like I know that body language. I know he's priming to attack. He's ready to attack. And I'm like, okay, has he bitten anybody? Guy's like, retired canine officer. My dog's possessive of my son, and he growls at me, and like he's saying all of these like crazy, really intense. Like I know for sure he's about to attack. I've seen dogs attack. I've worked with canines. I know what that body language is. I know the energy, and like he's talking about this dog like he's just this predator lying in wait, like sleeping on the couch waiting to kill somebody. And I'm like, well, has he ever bitten anybody? Well, no. I'm like, okay. So he runs away from you when you let him out of the crate. Yeah, okay. He also does all of these aggressive things when your son's not there, right? Yeah, I'm like, okay. Does he ever do this to your son? No. Like, how old's your son? 13. Okay. And your son and the dog, you said they're best friends? It's like, yeah. And he does not do that to him. Yeah. It's like, okay. I didn't say this part. It's like, dude, the dog doesn't like you, man.
Yeah, you're the issue.
The dog doesn't like you. Like he doesn't like you. He doesn't like your wife. And he sits around waiting for his friend to come back. And he just doesn't want to interact with anybody else. That's not some like ancient mystery diagnostics problem. It's like the dog does have little things that I'm like, that's not right. That's not right. Like he seems to have like a weak sense of self, and he won't grip on a bite and do anything like that. Like again, like this guy's making this dog out to be like he's some sort of killer, and he won't even bite a toy.
Right. It's actually probably just insecurity. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's probably like insecurity coupled with a dog that's just living with people he doesn't like. And it's
so like that's an interesting one though too. Not to like interrupt you too much, but he probably doesn't like them because they don't make him feel good about himself.
Right.
Like
right.
the kid
Well,
probably actually accidentally does a really good job of making him feel like
just being genuine
and feel really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, go on.
There was one thing that was so funny. I was like, I had to mute for a second and just like cough. I was like, what? Then he's like, yeah, man, he used to like love going in his crate, and he would go right in there, and he was really comfortable. So we started going in there and petting him to letting him know we like that. And then he started growling at us when he goes to his crate. That was like one of the first things he said. It was like a half-hour phone call, but I could have hung up right then. It's like, yeah, dude, I don't get it. My dog's growling at me as soon as I started being incredibly fucking annoying about everything.
People just don't know. Like like that's the kind of stuff where it's like so well-meaning, but like, goddamn, you're gonna fuck your dog up so bad.
And I think that there's I'm gonna go ahead and take a shot at our armed forces and our men in blue here. Not really. I want to make a claim about something, and I want to get your opinion. Okay. Handling a dog that's already been trained for a job does not require dog training knowledge or behavioral knowledge.
Not at all. Not at all. No.
That's
a lot of
not
bless them. A lot of canine handlers are actually really, really bad dog trainers and like have not much dogmanship at all, or like ability to read dogs, and that's not the skill set they need, and that's totally fine. But like, it's
you don't need to be. The dog's been trained
already.
Yeah,
it's the whole analogy of like, are you a race car driver? Or are you a mechanic? And like, you can be a great race car driver and just not know how to change a tire, and it's totally fine.
It's totally fine. but there's
You
some
know, you
there's a
might
little
be
bit
at
of that.
scars and then want to learn the rest of
But
it, but like it's not by default
if
that
you
you
repeatedly
know
tell
that stuff.
me if you
Yeah,
repeatedly tell me that, right? To me, that's a little bit of a warning sign that you have a drastic overestimation of your own judgment
correct. That's the problem.
of the dog.
That's
Like
usually where it's actually a problem. Yep.
he's trying to draw a comparison between this dog like standing in the corner of a room growling at him because he doesn't want to go near him to a dog about to be sent after like a knife wielding psychopath that just wants to tear the guy's limbs off. You know what I
So
mean?
this
Those
is
are
a whole
totally
another
different.
side tangent too. Correct. And people really don't know the difference between a dog like biting out of a defensive mood versus the way that a lot of canines are trained and sort of should be trained is prey and predator. Like, absolutely have to build resilience to fighting and like tap into defense a little bit and yada yada, like all the shit. But that's very apples and oranges to go, I am sending a dog forward into a fight that he wants to be in versus a dog feeling trapped in a corner and growling at me because he actually wants me to leave and very much does not want to fight. Like, that's like
So there's
wildly different
a very
motivations.
funny viral video of a guy, he's standing next to a cop car, he punches the cop in the face. The cop kind of like recoils. He takes a little bit of a step forward, like, I'm going to go fight this guy. And then he just kind of like looks at his hands, looks back at the guy, and he just turns around, he walks to his car and opens the back door, and the dog comes out. and like, and like that dog didn't need to feel threatened to do that. He was wishing, he's not saying get away. He's like, please stay there. Better yet, run. Like that would be the greatest.
Yes,
Like pure
just grab it, go do
offense.
something.
It's like it's offense, right? So it's like that guy, you're perceiving this dog that's just like repressed, awkward, and just doesn't like you as being this like killer when he's had all these opportunities to hurt you or hurt anybody and he's just never done it. Clearly, we can suspect not living in good conditions for that dog because he's not happy and he doesn't feel comfortable. So it's sort of snort warning. It's a testament to how patient the dog is that he actually hasn't bitten anybody.
For real.
But
Yep.
the dog, I guess they are really worried about him. So I'm likely going to end up taking him on for a little while.
Yeah.
And that'll be cool. I mean, it'll be my first male in a while that I'll have in for a program will be like a backyard and bred, rehomed, flunked out little freak.
Yep.
It'll be cool.
Sorry, not
It'll
that
be
this
cool.
actually matters, but I just got confused.
Please.
So the foster, or wait, sorry, how was the rescue involved? Like this was a client that was recommended via the rescue, or
He's sending the dog back to them, and they wanted me on a call with him to get information about the dog.
oh, okay,
But the rescue itself, they got hooked up to me through another TWC guy who's worked with them before.
So
And
this dude is just full, like he is not taking the dog back for sure. Then
no,
like,
it's over. It's over. Yeah,
Okay,
I didn't
that's
realize
bad.
that until a phone call either. They were like, no, we're just trying to get the story so that you know what you're dealing with. But we'll have a foster lined up for him if you can do a program or even a home. And I was like, okay, cool. So there's going to be this like awkward time frame where I have my dogs going that are coming this coming month, and then I'm going to have like a month where I've got nothing, and I can just fit in a dog like him, and hopefully it's not too bad. But we'll see. So much dog training is about to be done. Part of this too in the short term. So like with the because I want to talk about the apartment German Shepherd. His name is Bazooka. And people have been sending me this song about a guy's grandma getting killed by a bazooka. So that's going to be the a young man's grandmother gets hit by a bazooka in the song, and that's going to be the theme song for the program. I think the song is just called Bazooka, if you want to look it up. But part of the motivation for scheduling all these dogs is that I've got that dude bringing me the dog from South Korea. He's going to be hanging with me for like a week. And I was infinitely more worried about that. I still am than any dog that I've ever taken on, where I'm like, dude, I've got a guy who's not a native English speaker. He's never been to the United States before. And he's just going to be like at my mercy for 7 days. It's like, what the fuck are we
Just
gonna do?
horrified.
Like, what are we
Yeah.
gonna do? It's like,
Yeah. Just sit there
uh,
and stare at each other. Yeah.
so when I got the message about Bazooka, I was like, I can't, I don't have time. And then I thought about Korean Philip. I'm gonna call him KP. I was like, oh shit, this dog seems like it would play right away, and he'll be intense enough to be a challenge for this guy. Let's get him. Um, so like we'll have something to do. But the dog is also yeah. I've been wanting to train a dog for like an apartment lifestyle, because they're one strike away from getting just kicked out of the building because the dog is so explosive with other dogs. And the dude's like, the owner's a great guy. There's a chance he just can't do it. And we'll find out. There's a chance he can't do
Yeah.
it. He's a first time dog owner. He went to a real breeder and got a real working German Shepherd.
Oof. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, send me some pictures of him and stuff. The dog's gorgeous. But then he sent me a video. He's like, hey, I'm getting him used to the crate again. And he loves these. He's got him in the crate with a little puzzle box. Oh, he loves his enrichment stuff. And I'm like,
Dude, he might be the type of dude though, where since he bothered to go seek out a working library, like if you get him into some cool tug shit, like he might just never
Yeah.
have been exposed and like tried to do all the things right,
Right.
but like stumbled down the wrong social media rabbit hole.
no, I mean, if you
And you
look
can probably get him
online,
turned on to
if
the
you
right
look
stuff.
online, like this all connects to why I'm so angry all the time. If you look
Yeah.
online, it's like
Real.
it's like I've got a reactive German Shepherd and I'm about to get kicked out of my living situation. What do? You're gonna find Denise
Get a puzzle
Fenzi. You're
toy.
gonna find
Yep.
enrichment and redirection and thresholds and all this bullshit. You're not going to find here's productive play. Here's how you get dogs running off leash reliably. Here's how you tell him to knock it off if he's being retarded. You're not going to see all those things that actually may help. You're going to see things that keep the problem at a certain level or exacerbate the problem, and can at least make you feel like you tried something before you give up, which is basically what half of dog training is, if not more. So that's going to be a really cool one. The guy also was like, yeah, one time he attacked me. Like I had to go to the emergency room. And I
shit.
was like, whoa, dude, like what happened? He was like, oh, we were playing tug and he at one point bit me on the hand really hard and it was like really bad. I'm like, okay. So the chances of this is why you can't, guys, you have to evaluate the fucking dogs, guys. This guy thinks it was a moment of aggression. There was a 99.9% chance that he had the toy and was just getting overwhelmed by a physically imposing dog and was winging it and the dog just missed. That's exactly what happened. And when you add, it doesn't even take with some of these dogs, it doesn't take a lot of force. If your hand is moving, if you're moving through space like this and a canine is hooked like at this angle, you can just rend your hand in half. Right? They don't even need to clamp down on you. So
they can be putting that much bite pressure, and if it catches something just right, like it's gonna hurt.
You get shredded, and it will look.
I mean,
like,
honestly, I've even had like pretty not bad injuries because it's whatever, but like gotten a hand bruise pretty bad just from like immediately the dog stops because like they are dogs that have played before and sort of have that awareness, but like they'll just hit you with a molar.
Oh my god, dong.
And I'm like, I can't use this hand for a couple days,
dude,
It's
like the amount of dumb things that happen in play. I had a ball on rope,
and the dog reacted completely appropriately. Like as soon as they hit skin, they're like, oh, don't clamp down. Like perfect behavior from the dog. But if you were to look at that on the surface level, they just bit me, and it's like, but actually that was completely socially appropriate.
Or you're a dog owner that just doesn't know.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So
That's what I mean. Like back to the like thoroughly evaluate and know what's going on. Yeah.
So like
it can look like something that's absolutely not. Yeah.
Remy jumped when I had a toy in my hand the other day and jammed my fingers with her skull, and it hurts. It hurt worse than some like actual aggression bites that I've taken. Like I was like, wow, like it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, like you have client history, guys. I'm not saying that people are going around lying. I'm saying they don't know what they're looking at, dude.
Correct.
Like they don't fucking know. When I had that shelter trip the other day, I think I talked about it last epi. I can't even. I'm like blacking out. I can't even remember last epi. But there's a dog that's been rotting there for 3 years, supposedly because when a dog fight broke out at his previous home, someone stuck their hands in there and someone got bit on the hand. They're not even sure which dog it was. They just said, oh, it was Boomer. And he just goes to and he's just done. Like he's going to rot there for the rest of his fucking life. And I bring him out. I bring him out and I have gear on because they're saying he's this aggression case. The board, there's like a civil war on the board of directors gunning for his head. They're trying to kill him actively. I had to like give a testimonial about what I saw with him. And no one even knows what happened. So they're saying that the family says it was this dog that bit the hand, but then the official filing says it was the other dog that bit the hand. And it was in a dog fight where the dogs were going at each other and someone jammed themselves
It doesn't
in.
count.
So
Honestly, like redirected bites barely count to me. Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
Like,
there's no intention.
and
So
a dog fight and you sticking
Right.
your hands in the middle of it? Like, yeah, like let's talk about the dog problem, but like that is
Right.
not a human aggression case.
so
That's-
so so yeah. Oh, client story. Yeah, if you're gonna go off the client story, then like that's insanity. Right? It's fucking insanity. So I'm actually kind of hoping a little bit selfishly that there is some cheap shot bullshit going on with this dog because that'd be fun. Like, I think that's funny. If we're playing tug and he nips my hand, like that's a funny
This definitely
attitude.
happens too. Like,
Right.
absolutely, the intense dogs that care about winning the game figure out that hey, this is
Yeah.
this is something that worked in the past. Is to scare dad a little bit.
Right, but
and
it
then
gives
he'd
you
like go and
an
got my toy,
excuse.
you know?
It gives you an excuse to get on him and be like, "Yo,
Oh,
dude, not
100%.
cool,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
cool."
Yeah, he broke the rules.
That-
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that dog, but excuse me, but like, it's just if you look and I supposedly the dog reactivity, I can't have him record it because it could literally be the time he gets kicked out of the building. So I have to evaluate it myself when he gets here. But the dude's telling me that like the first thing I do in the morning, it's like 6 a.m. I got to go to work in a little while. I have to take my dog out into the hallway, look both ways. Nobody's out there. We run to the elevator. We go down 14 floors where I'm like holding my breath. I've got the dog between my legs and I'm just holding. And when the doors open, I just have to hope nobody else is taking their dog to the bathroom. Or it's on. Like it's on. He's like, the dog's taken me off the ground before. He'll like put him between his legs, wrap his left arm around his chest, and put his right arm over his eyes. And just they just fight. And I guess in those situations he has nipped, but again, like probably redirection.
Right. Yeah,
so-
not surprising at all at that level of agitation, to be honest.
So it would be
Like again,
I mean,
that's still a dog reactivity issue, not a human aggression issue.
right,
but anyway,
right. You would be shocked
on
if
that
a
next
working
one.
line German Shepherd didn't at least
Didn't.
mouth you.
Yes,
So
completely
I,
untrained, no outlet German Shepherd is biting when he's frustrated. What a shocker. Anyway,
Right. So I'm really looking forward to that dog because I think it'll be really fun. He should, I imagine, play right out of the box. All right, which
Yeah.
is a nice change for me.
For sure.
I've got nice. I've got a dog, like a physically imposing dog that I can bully Korean Philip with a little bit. I can be like, I know you're having fun over there with your little Shibas and shit, but welcome to America. This is how we do it. And get his ass beat a little bit. And I think I'll have 10 days with him before they get here with the dog, so I'll be able to get it to be coherent, like the play. And it'll be cool. It's a cool environmental challenge because I'm going to be training that dog basically at peak, like he needs to be prepared at peak arousal to go to like the Destiny Mall shopping center with me and stay in a heel the entire time. And a heel, a sit, or a down the entire time. And then when we get onto the elevators, we'll practice. I'm going to teach a middle sit. So it's like on the elevator, you take up less space. So like the default will be you get into the elevator, you go in the middle, you flip back into heel, you heel out of the building, and then you can be released. So that needs to be pressure tested times like a million times. It needs to be completely non-negotiable, foolproof obedience in a different environment than I normally would train for. I'm also going to see if I can sneak into an apartment complex somewhere. But I'm looking forward to that dog. It'll be a fun one. And it's a good example of how good dog training can sort of, I don't want to say without effort, but it's likely I'm going to be putting in a little effort and totally changing these guys' lives, like saving their ability to live normally. And it's not hard. Like it's just hard shit. You can imagine you can imagine the fucking protocols and shit people would put this dog on.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
And this is
so
where I
stupid.
think we're actually remembering a little bit of last episode where we were talking a little bit about like good dogs versus bad dogs and people thinking like the good ones are really easy. This is actually
Mhm.
one of those cases where it probably will end up being easier because he is a good dog. Because
Right.
the intensity of the behavior is pretty atrocious. Like it's
But that,
more life affecting for the owner to start with, but once you can flip it and teach this dog how to work in sort of like shifting that paradigm a little bit, shifting some uh like fulfillment strategies around, like even just lifestyle changes for a lot of these dogs make a huge difference because probably right, like he's probably not actually scared of the other dogs, he's probably not actually having that
no,
big of
no.
emotion about it or like
Right.
negative emotion. He's just like this sounds like a dog who's just built a really fun game, and
Yeah.
that is fairly straightforward to
I'm
kind of be
locked.
like,
I'm
hey, we're
locked in the
not playing
room.
that game anymore and
I'm locked in the
we're gonna
room with the
shift
little
it.
puzzle
Yeah.
box all day. And then
Yeah.
a few times a day, I get to go out and blow up.
Yep.
You know what I
And
mean?
practice being a German Shepherd. Yep.
Right, right.
Yep.
So it's another one of those things where like the surface level, like if you were to compare, and this is all speculation until I can actually get my hands on the dogs, but like
Yeah.
the Malinois who is not doing anything remotely as explosive or crazy as the
Correct.
German
He's going
Shepherd,
to be way harder potentially.
way
Yeah.
harder, way
Yeah.
harder because he does not have a good sense of self.
Correct.
He does not have a healthy ego. He does not have an easy time getting to know human beings. Like the social dynamics and all of those are all warped and perverted and kind of gross and messed up. Whereas this dog has all of those things on an extremely high level. It's just they're off the rails. So it's like setting boundaries and just like having a good time. And you can make this like crazy out of control problem totally insignificant.
Yeah, like you're basically cutting out the first 4 weeks of like
Oh my God.
breezes. You know what I mean? Like it's that
100%.
yeah.
Probably
Like usually
6
that's
weeks. It's
the
like
yeah, for real. For real. Yeah.
it's yeah. I don't want to personal segment really quick. Like people just don't know. They'll be like, oh, the dog still doesn't take on or they're not that bad. It's like guys, like it's always bad people saying this, so I have no problem responding. The way that I interact with the dogs diffuses them extremely quickly, but they're terrible dogs, dude. They're awful, awful dogs. Just because I don't have them on 6-foot leashes, strangling them, making them attack me, and just because they start trusting me really quickly, that does not mean that they're good dogs. They just like don't know how to be. Like they just don't know how to just like exist and let things go and relax and indulge in their senses and be like they're all just like gnarly fucked up dogs. It just doesn't always look like it over a camera because
Yes.
my intentions are made clear right away. You know what I'm saying? And I'll go as far as to say I kind of want to talk about human aggression just for a second. I would say that for the most part, if a dog is still all out attacking you as a trainer, like 7 days into the program, you're doing something wrong. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's a 100% rule, by the way. Like I get
Right,
that.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
But if the dog isn't habituating to you and starting to trust you, that isn't likely to be a condemnation of the dog's behavior. It's your methods.
Right. Like they may still be
So
having moments at that period of time like, oh, here's a specific trigger we're struggling with, but you should
right.
be able to like take them out of a crate and go for a potty walk. You know what I mean? Like
Correct.
that should be
And it would have been a joke. Like if it wasn't abusive to do this, I would do this on purpose to prove a point. I could turn Breeze into a monster
100%.
by being a bad
Yep.
dog trainer. And then I can
Yep.
sell it as look at this awful dog that came in. It's like, well, no, your methods are making the dog bad. It's like I want to have an actual evaluation where the dog is free to make his own choices without my pressure on him. Without unnecessary pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see these guys on the short
Well,
lines
and
and
like
they're
again,
getting
not
into
to get
battles and
too
stuff.
off on a tangent, but I was talking about the golden retriever I had that was like when I took him out just on a flexi walk, like and all these dogs, right? Like unfortunately again, like this is kind of society has set up these expectations that take your dog out on a 6-foot leash and they need to be walking next to you, yada yada. Anyway, I took him out for a flexi walk and he was just fucking frantic. And like a week later, just by not fighting with him on leash, he's 100 times better, like complete night and day. And it's literally just from not trying to get him to walk on a loose leash. Do you know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
he was getting so much frustration and just the owners, like this wasn't like bad dog training, but like it's the same shit that happens where the dog just gets pent up and frustrated because it's like I'm limiting your movement and your access to just being a dog, whatever the specific situation is, but just releasing that pressure, like that when he said like without putting pressure on him or like not making him deal with that. That is shit that happens even with pet dogs, where with Breeze you could turn him into a really bad dog because he would express it very
Already is a bad dog. Yeah. So it's
negatively.
not hard.
Right. Yeah. But like with this silly golden retriever, it's like nothing horrible happens, but he starts biting the leash. Like those were the behaviors that they were struggling with. But in a different dog, those tactics would have created aggression, you know? But like it's the sort of standard dog husbandry, dog training, whatever you want to call it, like dog handling that creates all of these issues. And it's just like it's so wild. Like once you see it, you're just like, like
what is everyone doing? Like it would be so easy. It would be so easy for you to take the retriever out of his crate in the morning and then just go fight with him in the street.
Yes.
And be like, look at how awful this kid. I only take the worst dogs. It's like, but these are the same. It's just, I have to make it personal for a second. These are the same guys that are like, Dylan puts on a suit and antagonizes the dogs to bite when I'm literally standing around a field. Dude, someone was like, he's calling this border collie aggressive. He was just hurting him. This is the most embarrassing thing. I'm like, he was talking about Holly. I'm like,
oh,
like, dude, I was just standing there and the dude came off the ground like 5 feet trying to grab my, like, what are you talking about? But yeah, it's part of it when it comes to the aggression thing is like people are so stupid about the bite suits that they have to come up with like these weird myths to believe. But generally speaking, yeah, you can take any dog with basically any personality whatsoever and just be as abrasive and conflict heavy as possible at the front and just make the dog bad, like make him look bad. You know what I'm saying? And I remember doing that because I had to because of time crunches. So it's like you got a 2-week program and you have to teach this dog how to walk nice, and it needs to happen within the next like 4 days so you can get him around distractions because you have like 5 days after that to proof everything. It's like, well, yeah, I do have to go out and we have to slam the fuck out of each other. That makes the dogs look way more challenging, and that's your problem. It's not the dog's problem. So yeah, I will not be doing that with any of the dogs that I have coming up.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
The dog in the apartment.
Yes.
That trying to scare my new Korean friend with him. I'm hoping that he's like a brute. Like, so the dog will be very easy. I think the owner may be challenging. Like, I don't think the guy knows what he got into. So that will likely be the failure point if it doesn't go well. It's just the guy is just not a good setup for him, not a good dog for him. But we'll see. I have faith in the guy, and he's a nice dude. And I think if I can get him to play and really like be like full contact play with him, I think it'll be cool.
For sure.
What else? The Pyrenees, I don't think will be super interesting. It's gonna be fun, like an excuse for me to train one of those dogs. He weighs like 180 pounds, which would be really funny. I'm excited to like take him on car rides and just kind of like have him just chilling over my shoulder. And then Mongoon, the Korean dog, that's gonna be cool. Looking forward to that one. Remy goes home tomorrow. We've had two snow delays, which sucks.
Yeah.
We're meeting halfway tomorrow. I'm bringing out Breeze. We're gonna turn it into a little training trip. But yeah, Remy's going to foster mom. I think permanent mom. We'll see. Marissa will watch this too, so she'll hear this. I'm not gonna say anything beyond that. But I'm in the process of editing the Remy case video. It just makes me want to fucking kill myself, dude. I can't. Video editing makes me want to die. There's so many. I recorded so many hours of this dog, and I'm just. And Shankara Scott, you're the one that convinced me to make this video. All right, you son of a bitch. All right, if you see this, I know it'll be worth it, but right now it sucks. He had been DMing me throughout Remy's pro. He's like, dude, you got to make the video. Make the video. I was like, fucking fine, dude. But he's right. It'll be a good one. What else? And then I got a phone call. It's like, hey, I got this dog at the shelter a couple months ago, and he just went after my dad on the couch. He bit him on the elbow and latched on, and then when we got him off, he kept going for him.
Oof.
And I was like, oh, where do you live? Okay. What date? Okay. I was like, that sounds like a good first day for Korean Philip. Let's do that. So Korean Philip is getting a day one, potentially really savage aggression eval. And I kind of want to put him in the suit and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
It's
funny.
Yeah, a lot of dogs starting up soon. It's going to be chaos. I need to get this Remy video done before the dogs start though, because it's just nauseating. I'm trying to have it done in the next like week. It's just it's so lame. And we wanted to talk. I told you there's gonna be funny noises. Like this is just them playing. It's so fucking retarded. So you wanted to talk. Someone wanted to talk about negative reinforcement. You
Yeah.
want to
So
go into
just
that?
yeah, we had a comment that was like, because I think I had made a comment briefly on a previous episode about like just levels on like negative reinforcement versus punishment and how people kind of think that intensity matters, and gave the example of like my dog that actually is much lower intensity on punishment versus negative reinforcement, yada yada. But anyway, that kind of sparks the thought of like go into negative reinforcement sort of in the way that we did on the punishment episode, of kind of how these sort of misconceptions get created or where they come from, and like myth busting a little bit on it.
Yeah.
And the thought I kind of, and I've sort of tried to unpack this before, just internal dialogue, so it could be interesting to talk out loud about it and hear your thoughts. But like the backwards conditioning stuff, I think a lot of people, the reason that they want to start with the pressure versus the cue is oftentimes that they're afraid, and may have even had the experience of like giving the cue, putting pressure on, and then the dog, you accidentally sort of poison the cue because you're not doing the pressure appropriately. So like as an example, let's say I'm teaching a brand new dog sit, just via negative reinforcement. I'm going to say sit. Maybe I pop the leash up or put some leash pressure on, and the dog, instead of putting its butt down, like backs up or just has a negative reaction to it. Like maybe it shuts down from the pressure, doesn't even try anything. And then I'm like, fuck, and sort of bail or get like a shitty version of the behavior maybe. And then I'm like, okay, let's go again. And I go sit. And then the dog like flinches a little bit when I say sit or something, right? But like very quickly people get kind of freaked out by that. But the issue isn't the fact that you tried forward conditioning. The issue is the pressure application. And I think there's a lot of like finesse and nuance that has to happen with negative reinforcement that just,
well, I could just blow the lid off this right now if you
take
want.
some practice. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's one answer above all for me. It's the same problem people have with using punishment. It's the same problem people have with using positive reinforcement. What do you think the problem is? It's like a systemic overall dog training issue. And not even, it's like a living with dog issue.
Contingency.
No, I mean, that's a big one, but no, not in this case. So in this case specifically, you're talking about, you're trying to use negative reinforcement to get the dog into a sit at your side or something like that, and he starts bucking, right? He starts going like, I don't know. There's something that people are not using. I mean, for sure, they give up right away and they get scared and they're like, I'm making the dog worse, which is hilarious because you're actually right standing in front of a gold mine, and you saw a glimmer of gold and just ran home.
Yes.
Out of insecurity. But no, it's the lack of emotion. That's
that as you were talking, I'm like, oh yeah, if people don't help their dogs, they don't talk to their dogs enough.
there's no encouragement.
Yep.
Negative reinforcement is as weak as positive reinforcement when it's done dispassionately.
Yes.
And by weak, I mean
And
like you can still get it done.
Ineffective.
But
yes.
right, but like relative to when you use emotion, it's a joke.
Correct.
Compared.
And I think the problem is with negative reinforcement, it looks worse when you're not doing it well. And it freaks people out, which it kind of should. If you're not doing it well, it should be a trigger to change. But then like it kind of stops people from exploring further because they're like, oh, if I do this differently, it can only get worse. You know what I mean? Like they're just scared by
that dog Mongoon that I have coming. I'm excited for him for like a bunch of different reasons. I'm excited for him personally because I hope I can give him a chance to live a normal life. But in terms of like the overall showing what we do and showing what we believe in, we have an opportunity here with a dog that should, by all conventional mythologies and wisdoms, should be crushed by the use of aversives. This should be the worst candidate for the worst candidate for leash pops, the worst candidate for balance. This should be just the prototypical dog that everyone, even balanced people, would put on a pedestal and say, "Oh, you need to just like you need to wait until the luring." And it's like, so I should it be appropriate for at an appropriate stage. I am going to. I'm going to be recording everything, but I couldn't think of something better in terms of causing people to have to think than recording me teaching this dog how to down with leash pops.
Yep.
I think that could be the most like intellectually devastating content I could ever put on the internet. And I don't mean in that people will freak out. They would absolutely freak out. And then mysteriously, when the dog's running around and he's happy, everyone goes home and they forget it happened, and they come back out. The freaks come out for the next round, and you'll all be watching forever. And I'm just going to keep getting better at training dogs. Your other option, other than growing up, is in which I would find your families and laugh in their faces. But teaching this dog to down with negative reinforcement and getting all of the sessions, I think it would be really, really beneficial. Because I think he knows how to sit already, or knows kind of like a shitty sit. So we would pick the down, because the down is sort of like that submissive position where the dog, you know what I mean? And I'm almost in a way hoping that it's really challenging. You know what I mean? Because what you talked about, where it looks bad, like it doesn't look like a dog chasing a beef treat.
No.
Well,
and what I kind of want to pick apart though too is like there's a way for it to look bad that's good, and there's a way for it to look bad that's actually bad.
Where the dog's just lost, right? Where the dog's just totally lost.
Yeah, and I think that until you play with it a little bit is kind of a scary. We have this saying in sport where it has to look ugly before it can look pretty. And sometimes people use that as an excuse for shitty training.
Bad. Yeah, to be bad.
But
dogs have to go through stress, and it's like a dog in public, like having a fucking mental breakdown, and it's like, and they're like getting e-collar tapped non-contingently. It's like, dude, okay.
It's not. Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. So yeah, like that. But that idea of like in negative reinforcement, and in that teaching phase, the dogs might look a little bit stressed for a second. And I think like we can get into too. Like I think there's ways to they use successive approximation a little bit better in negative reinforcement than people usually do. And it can, like, I think there's ways to, I don't want to say salvage emotion, but you have to kind of like ride that fine line of like the dog feeling that he needs to make actions to solve the puzzle, but also not so much that you're shutting him down, right? Like all of that stuff is kind of tricky, but I got myself off track a little bit. But what I kind of was saying, starting to say with that is, with that, it has to look ugly before it looks pretty. The dog probably is going to have a moment of confusion because they're going to try some behavior that may or may not be the right answer, or they're going to have a reaction to that pressure. And that's where, like, I think good negative reinforcement, I totally agree, obviously, that giving the dog the feedback and kind of helping them through it. But
people inadvertently start teaching dogs weird reactions to cues because they
Mhm.
accidentally release the pressure when the dog is having a little bit of like they're experimenting with a response that's kind of an avoidance behavior. And then you can easily kind of spin yourself into a cycle of like, now the dog's showing some pretty intense avoidance behavior to a cue because he thinks that's the way that you solve the puzzle, right?
Mhm.
And then people are like, oh, like, don't teach. Like, they end up abandoning the strategy completely instead of just fixing the way that they're doing it.
You also just explained people thinking that they're positively punishing like reactivity, for instance. and it is.
Yes, 100%.
It's just bad. It's just incoherent negative
Use of
reinforcement.
memory. Yes. Yeah. So like back to the sit example. So like I think what happens is a lot of people will like put the pressure on the dog. The dog has either no reaction but kind of gets a little bit flat, like no behavior that it shows, but like gets a little bit sad, or locks up a little bit or whatever it is. And they stop, or the dog like backs up, does something weird, and then they stop, and then they don't touch it again. Like then they switch over
Yeah.
to food or whatever. The correct answer, and like this is difficult to verbally explain, but like hopefully people can picture it well enough. Let's say you go pop up on the collar and the dog kind of goes like oof and like freezes a little bit. You see this a lot with dogs that like have some previous learning with tools that's just like not good, right? And they kind of will shut down in reaction to that. It triggers a little bit of like, why bother even trying? But the way to sort of get out of that, like it's okay to lower the level of the negative reinforcement in that moment, but keep encouraging them and get them to have success. And people, I think, feel like they're kind of stuck at, like, let's say you're even using like a level 5 on an e-collar, like go to a 2.
Mhm.
And that's fine. Like you don't have to completely abandon the negative reinforcement strategy. You can just lessen it and then help the dog. Like maybe touch their butt a little bit, or like change the angle of the leash, or whatever it is, right?
Take breaks
I use
too.
the e-collar levels as like example, but like extrapolate that to leash levels as well, like level 5 on a leash versus level 2. Yeah, taking breaks. And that, so like the other thing I was going to say is successive approximations. Like if you have that reaction when the dog's like, oh shit, if you can even get him to take a step back, release the pressure and reward. And I think people get really stuck on like negative reinforcement has to result in the completion of this behavior, which we know that's not true. Like you can, with positive reinforcement, we're really good at successive approximations and like breaking it down and slowly increasing criteria and all this stuff. But people forget that in negative reinforcement, where they're like, oh, if I start putting pressure on for the sit or the down, I have to get the dog's butt on the floor, the dog's elbows on the floor. Yeah. So like, even if the dog takes a step back, relieve the pressure, reward, take a break, whatever your sort of release and reward looks like, go back to it.
Well,
and maybe this time just like
is this for like a sit or a down here, like a sit.
a sit.
So
yeah.
if he were to take a step back, I would start verbally encouraging and like patting myself.
Correct. Well, or even too, I'd like put him against a wall where he can't back
Yeah.
up and he has to choose something different. Like,
Ooh, I think we disagree.
yeah.
Ooh, nice. Look at that.
But, well, I'm not saying I wouldn't encourage him, but like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's like a lot of other options. Like if people don't feel like they can encourage the dog through that, like if you're just starting and you're like, I'm afraid to continue to put more pressure on, get that step back in the moment, release the dog, because at least he tried something as a result of that pressure, and then just figure out how you're going to set it up the next time. So like, I probably would like just touch his butt or like block him forward a little bit with the leash. Like I would play with my leash angle, stuff like that. Like if it were me, yeah, I'd just keep encouraging him because I know I can get through the other side and I know my pressure's appropriate, yada, yada. But like speaking more towards people that are like just starting and are a little bit nervous to continue applying pressure. My point is like, at least get movement, at least get some action, and then release, rinse and repeat, reset yourself, figure out a plan of attack, and then go forward. Cause like even, with like back tie work, this happens all the time when people are trying to get barking from a dog. They're frustrating the dog, getting him agitated, and the dog will like feet stomp or like lunge a little bit and they don't reward it, and they
And you're like, what the
accidentally
fuck?
extinguish. Yes. And so it's exactly the same thing where if you're waiting for the complete behavior in response to pressure, you might end up shooting yourself in the foot because you missed the dog's effort, which is the whole point of negative reinforcement, right? Is I want you to try to cooperate with me and try to invest in this relationship by trying to solve this puzzle in a way. And it's exactly the flip side of people going too much too soon in positive reinforcement, where like you built all the dog's drive, made all this energy, and then the dog gave you something. He's like, I'm doing the best I can. This is my best effort, and you just
And you're
fucking
just
ignore
standing
it.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's devastating.
you're gonna have such a hard time getting that back. And
Yeah.
that's kind of my point with negative reinforcement is like people get kind of stuck in like, oh shit, I accident because like with the dog on the backside, it's really easy to just be like, okay, I'm gonna take a break, then throw the toy around again, and we'll probably get like spontaneous recovery, whatever you want to situation you want to kind of picture, but you can get it back. And like the same is true for negative reinforcement. Release the pressure on whatever action. I don't give a fuck what it is, because you can at least build on the fact that that dog made effort to cooperate. Like, don't get stuck on the picture. Think about what is it that we're trying to build the dog's muscle in their brain to do, and the muscle that we're trying to build is cooperation, right? And like it doesn't really matter what behavior it is that we're getting at the end of the day. Like, of course, there's functionality to the sit that we eventually want to get a sit and a heel and whatever. But like, if you literally are like, hey, maybe I should start with just teaching a dog to move forward when I give him a little bit of leash guidance forward, like fucking start there. It doesn't have to be a complex behavior. Anyway, that was my little soapbox. What were you going to say?
Well, I was
you
just
started to
about
say
the
about
wall
Ivan.
block. About the wall block. The reason why I had such a reaction.
Yeah.
This is a very Ivan pilled. Like I remember like hearing him talk for the first time and like hearing him have reactions like that to mechanical restrictions. I'm like, okay, this guy is just like being a purist for the sake of it. I'm like, blah blah blah. But no, I'm like totally like I'm like I'm very much on the page of, if I were to mechanically restrict the dog in that instance, I am giving up an opportunity to emotionally resolve, to find an emotional resolution.
Yeah.
But I totally get it.
I
Like
think
if
to
you
me
don't
it's
feel
training
confident,
wheels.
if
It's
you don't feel
training wheels.
confident, if you don't feel like it's not wrong. I would say it's not optimal.
I agree.
In that, so say, let's say for a second that,
But I think like this is a little bit my point though too, is I think people get stuck on the optimization. Like they hear Ivan say something like that and they're like, well, fuck, I feel out of my depth. I can't emotionally connect with the dog and I'm just fucking it up completely. It's like, dude, go grab a crutch. It's okay. Like,
yeah. As long as you
have
don't
a plan to get rid of it.
Right.
Yes. And as long as you don't pretend that it's the only way or the optimal way or whatever. Like it's the same as using props and obedience for sports stuff. Like the bucket work, the box work, all of that stuff. It's like, yeah, it definitely has a place. I use it as a teaching tool for new handlers. I don't personally feel like I have to use it anymore, but it absolutely, if somebody is struggling really fucking hardcore to stay in one spot, I'm like, I'm gluing you down with the fucking bucket.
So let me give my
anyway, yeah.
Let me give like practical example of what I mean, so I don't sound like I'm just like a crotchety old guy. So say that I'm teaching Mongoon to like come into the heel position.
Yep.
And now I know that involves the dog sitting, which I didn't know a couple years ago. Then I submitted my practical exam footage. I didn't submit it. I recorded all of my practical exam footage teaching a dog to come into heel without a sit, because I didn't know you were supposed to do that. So he has to sit. He has to sit at my side, right? Say that how much of my room do I want to show? It's destroyed in here. It's so gross. Real quick. Take a look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Remy just like chills. So say that like I'll act this out here. And I don't want to stand next to my couch because there's not going to be a barrier. I just want you to see what's going on.
Yeah,
but like imagine we're just like in an open, man, this fucking tripod is so trash. Oh my God. Okay, I have to lean it. Sorry. Okay, I'm not up against the couch. Okay, I'm not. But like I have to get the dog here, right? Fritz, come on. Fritz, come on. Say that I'm like Fritz. Oh my God. Say that like, all right, Fritz, seats.
Oh, what a good boy.
Seats. Say that like,
oh my God, the German. I'm dying. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm trying to get Mongoon to come in here and sit, and he stops back there, and he's like, I don't want to do that,
Yes.
right? The thought of, oh, I'm just going to put a wall here so that he has to do this removes all of the character that's built. Come on, boy, come. Seats. In that moment, right? Where I'm applying the negative reinforcement, and I'm like emotionally showing him the way. And like I'm making that, there's a link that happens there in that moment where he finally decides I'm going to do it. That payoff is totally okay. That payoff is totally forfeit if you don't give the dog a chance to be afraid.
Yeah.
That's
No,
sort of
I
my
think
point.
that's a super valid point, and I totally agree. I think even like as kind of a middle ground to that, like let's say you have a dog who's wanting to kind of like he's like coming in next to you and sitting, but he's like sideways. And you're like, okay, if I reach down and kind of grab his butt, he gets a little squirrely about that. And then even going like, okay, I'm just gonna touch his side, or even like you could isolate this out of the heel position, right? I'm gonna touch his side, like almost like a horse. Like I'm just gonna
Mhm.
move you this way, move you
Yeah,
that way.
100%.
But I'm just gonna touch your side when you're standing here, apply a little bit of pressure as I'm encouraging you, and you figure out how to step sideways without like freaking out. But like if I were to lump that together, so like I personally would try not to just use a wall to get the dog to like figure out how to do that, because I do think that's an opportunity for like touch desensitization. But don't trap yourself into thinking that you have to do that in the heel position,
Mhm.
right? Like there's like I'll go more one-to-one on your example. Like forget the wall for a second. But let's say the dog is sitting back from you because for whatever reason he like doesn't want to be here close to you. You could start by just being like, okay, I'm going to encourage you to come forward as you're sitting behind me, but I don't have to get the finished sit.
Mhm.
I can just go, yay, good boy, and release the pressure
Uh-huh.
as soon as you take a step forward. Like
Yeah, oh yeah.
that's kind of the point I'm trying to make.
No, the second the dog showed any, I'd go, and then okay. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like, let's get that solid, perfectly angled. No, it's like the second I see that, like, I think I can, and then bang.
And I think there's a misconception of like having to get the finished product because negative reinforcement has sort of been like marketed as cleaning stuff up, as a proofing
Oh my
step.
God. Oh my
But when
God.
people are teaching stuff, they get really stuck in that. So like that's
Oh.
kind of the context of where I'm sort of tried to come from and speak from, is like that don't get distracted by that, because
Yeah.
it's the same exact principles of positive reinforcement in terms of like successive approximation, raising criteria. The other thing too that I think is really interesting was like your example, like in that example of like dogs standing a little bit behind you, you're encouraging him to come forward. I think what a lot of people aren't seeing with really good trainers, there's a moment of release for the dog stepping forward. We might not do a full
Yeah.
release, but there
Yeah.
is a moment of relief within the negative reinforcement.
Mhm.
And then we might apply pressure again to be like, now I'm getting the next step of behavior, putting you into a sit. And then we get the release and reward. But I think a lot of people then would perceive that as you're doing continuous pressure until you
Yeah.
get the sit. But even within a single trial, a single repetition of negative reinforcement, you can ebb and flow.
This is
Like
where
even
our good
yeah,
buddy
go ahead.
e-collar conditioning has done damage. People think that negative reinforcement generally has to be like a machine gun, machine precision, like ding, 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 or
And I think we
ding,
even get that from,
ding.
I would say, even just like modern dog training of
Yeah.
positive reinforcement too, that people have to be like so
Mhm.
fucking precise and clean. And it's
Right.
like,
It
again, you can just
disregards.
encourage the dog user,
Right.
like
But it
have
also
feedback, have a cooperative. Yeah. But
it
yeah,
also
specifically with
allows
e-collars
you
too, people are very afraid to like
ding, 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 ding,
mess
ding,
that
ding,
up.
ding.
Yeah.
So you do, again, like these are the same guys that are train the dog in front of you. It's like, okay, what if you have a dog that does respond really well to that, like that quick, then cool, you can use that's very optimal. It's very fast. But then if you have a dog that gets overwhelmed by that,
Correct.
now you're just going to like wholesale like remove negative reinforcement as a concept versus just like slowing it down and augmenting it to the dog the dog in front of you. You know what I mean? There's no reason you can't go sit, pop, pop. Hey, come on, sit,
Yep.
pop.
Or even sit, pop, pop. Come on, buddy. He lifts his head and you're like, done.
Right,
No
right,
problem.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, or he lifts his head and you go, yeah, good boy. You stop popping for 3 seconds. And then you go, let's keep going. And you
Uh-huh.
start popping again. And then he starts to lower your butt and you go, yay, good boy, relieve the pressure. But like, it's
Mhm.
those like mini breaks. And maybe this is what you're trying to say earlier. And I just like pictured it as a full on break, but like, give the dog a moment to breathe and think about
Uh-huh.
the fact that he just solved part of the puzzle. Like, you didn't complete the puzzle, but like that sense of excitement you get when you fit one piece in, right? It's like that. You didn't finish the whole thing, but you can celebrate that little moment and then, okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. But I see a lot of people not acknowledge those small moments of effort from the dog. And then the dog does get stuck in that overwhelm and they just end up hearing the cue of sit and they're like, I cannot solve this puzzle. This is way too hard, way too stressful. And
Right.
they end up throwing it all away because it's like something went wrong. But like, that's probably what, I mean, you see it even with, again, like I'm trying to just like draw the parallels between positive and negative reinforcement because I think it's very useful to realize that like everything is the same thematically. But a lot of people have this experience when they're teaching their young puppies heel position. It's a relatively complex behavior, to be honest. Like there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of thinking that the puppy has to do. They're moving their body in a weird way. It's kind of unnatural. They're having to show a lot of persistence to stick on the lure as they're still thinking, like all of these things. And you see puppies do 2 repetitions and they're like, I'm done. That's like,
Right.
I need to
Right.
take a break. I need to like something, just like decompress for a moment. And people are like, oh no, my puppy has no drive. And they start sort of panicking about that. And it's like, no, like this is a really tough behavior. And you can't just like force your dog through it. Like they are going to feel overwhelmed for a moment. And you have to acknowledge that, give them the break that they need, and then come back to it. And it's okay if like you just do 3 basic positions in one session and the rest of it is like play or whatever it is. And it's the same, like it's the same for negative reinforcement. Like
Yeah.
it is easy to accidentally get a dog stuck in overwhelm because you just gave them 1,000 piece puzzle and said you have 30 seconds to solve this, right?
Well,
Like, we
another
need to be
thing
realistic about that. Yeah.
another thing I would want to add is how, I mean, everything is, but how subject negative reinforcement is to the learning environment.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so I keep coming back to like my upcoming case dogs as examples, but with
Yeah.
Mongoon, like I put up a post on my Patreon. There'll be more. I'm going to show more of like his before footage on other avenues too. But there's a video of one of the trainers has him out at like a subway station or something, and they're doing like healing 180s. You know, like all of the stuff that's like downstream from the keeler stuff, right? And it's like, yeah, that works, but like the killer stuff works, but you're not actually getting any of the benefit from it because the dog is in a perpetual state of fight or flight. So like
Yes.
the environment, it would be so easy to look at that and be like, well, then like the leash pops are just stressing him out. It's like, well, no, the dog before he even got there thought he was about to be killed.
Stress.
So
Yeah.
like that is not productive. That
Yeah.
you'll like unintentionally habituate the dog to the leash pops.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
'cause
Like there
it's
needs, I
nonsense.
think we've talked about this before with like levels of aversives that you sometimes need. Like Remy's too happy of a dog. So like you have to kind of dip her a little bit lower emotionally in order
Right.
for punishment to be
Correct.
effective.
Correct.
Whereas Breeze, he's already feeling pretty bad. So you're like, you have to be careful about the
Yeah.
level of intensity. It's a little bit the same with negative reinforcement. If the dog is already miserable and you are trying to apply pressure to create change, like you have nowhere to go from there.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like there
It's
is no
not
solution to the dog. There has to be,
right.
we have to be playing with like the background and the noise, the signal and the noise, and treating those as ratios and not absolutes, right? Like a dog who
Yeah.
reacts really, really well to even potentially like high level e-collar in a certain situation, and he's like, this is a super fun game, I love it. And you're getting really flashy, fun behaviors. The dog is like clearly having a good time. And then you take it out to somewhere where he's really stressed and you go, oh, I'm just going to do the same exact game we play at home.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a good result.
Yeah.
And it's not because of a failure of negative reinforcement. It's because you stacked too many stressors. Like negative reinforcement is adding some stress on purpose. They don't start that sort of like stress inoculation in an environment where the dog is already like at the end of my rope here. You know what I mean?
But it's weird because like no one knocks positive reinforcement when the dog won't take food because he's panicking. But then like the dog's not responding, not getting better with negative reinforcement because he's panicking, and everyone's like, see, versus make things worse. It's like, okay.
No, it was
you're
bad
waving food and
application.
you're just being bad. You know what I mean? You're just being bad. But that has the potential to be, and like if he can sort of down already, I'm going to pick a command. I'll come up with some stupid shit, you know, like coming into middle,
honestly,
jumping into my
getting
arms, coming
into
into
heel is usually pretty
heel.
difficult for dogs because it does require a little bit of like, hey, you need to accept my guidance.
It'll give me an
Because it
excuse to
isn't-
use my hand.
Yep.
But like, guys, I'm telling you, there's potential that like if I do my job, that could actually blow the lid off of this dog's misery. Like to create an actual link. Like, okay, so this is what negative reinforcement does too. Okay, it forces interactions. Like it's a means to force interactions to take place between you and the dog in a constructive way, should you do it correctly. And like I talked about last time, that like this dog, like the number one currency you need with a shutdown dog is interactions. So the thought that, oh, softer dog, weak dog, horrified dog, therefore we just drop food and never touch him is actually the total, like everything you hear in dog training, it's actually the exact opposite is fucking true. This dog needs negative reinforcement like a lifeline. Like a rattlesnake victim needs antivenom. Like it's actually that dire how badly he needs it. In a coherent way, in a way that's accompanied by the clear intentions and encouragement, and like that is where he and I are going to learn a lot about each other and who we are to each other. So I can't.
Well, I think too, like just to go off of that a little bit, like what is the purpose of negative reinforcement? It's to show a dog that they can actually act on their environment and resolve stress via action, so on, so on. But like one of the things too that people get mixed up in is they'll say like, oh, negative reinforcement is a way to get a dog like inoculated to stress. And that can sound like we're just putting pressure on the dog for the sake of putting pressure on the dog.
Right. Literally like you're heating something up in the microwave. Like literally that people make it out like that. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, no. Like you have to do it in such a way that the dog feels stress and is able to resolve it. And it's in a very predictable and systematic way that he's able to resolve it. So I think that's kind of another like myth that gets, and it's kind of just a lack of nuance in the language. Cause like, it is true that it's stress inoculation, but like, it's also not that simple.
So there's
like what you're saying with those interactions, like the importance of the interaction is that we're manufacturing a situation where the dog is getting on purpose a little bit stressed out and ensuring that we help the dog resolve that. And I think that's the important part that a lot of people miss is they just go, again, that very robotic, like I click button, dog sits, pressure relieves. It's like, yeah, but like even that is kind of like, yeah, I guess at least you're teaching the dog that he can act on his environment to relieve stress and solve the problem that he's in and stuff like that. But like ideally, like we're also helping him to do it and building that trust and that cooperation on top of all of that. Yeah. But we're definitely not like just pushing a button and then the button, you know, the pressure randomly stops and the dog's like, well, now I just get random over. Like,
so check this out.
That's not stress inoculation. Yeah.
So there's some weird shit. People find so many weird things to do with e-collars, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like there's this weirdo shit bouncing around where it's like,
Oh, sorry, one more thing. The
Please,
forward
please.
conditioning gets a bad rap because of that kind of stuff where people go sit and just push the button, overwhelm the dog, don't appropriately raise criteria, use successive approximation, don't help the dog. Like, then you are going to absolutely fucking poison your cue. When you say sit, the dog's gonna go like, wow, fuck, my life sucks. And you're gonna get a horrible reaction. But if you do it well, you say sit, and the dog goes, I know exactly how to solve this. If I get stuck, you're going to help me through it. Here I go. Ears stay up, put my butt on the ground. Yay, that was super fun. You know, like, I got frustrated by the puzzle. I picked up the piece. I experimented a couple times, fit it in, and like, great, you know? Anyway, so like, of course, things are going to go badly, and you're going to end up coming up with this idea of doing backwards conditioning instead, because then at least you're not poisoning your cue, but you're probably still not doing the actual negative reinforcement appropriately anyway.
Well, you're also just teaching the dog that they just get hit out of nowhere all the time when they're near
like,
you.
Best case scenario, the dog is figuring out something that you're doing that does become a cue. But like,
So check this out. Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
Check this
Yeah,
out. Like,
yeah.
I've got so much I want to say, but check this out, because I put up a post that fucking triggered a bunch of retards. This was like a year ago, but I had a phone call with this lady, and she was like, "Yeah, you know, I had this this trainer from this big time school. You probably work out which of them it is. Come over with my pit bull." And suddenly, like, during training, he started to get really aggressive with the trainer, and then suddenly during training, he started to go off on me. And I was like, was he ever doing this before? No. Okay, what's this, that, whatever. And I finally down to it. I'm like, well, what the fuck are you doing during training? And she was like, well, we started with the electric collar, and you put your finger down on the button, and then you tell him to sit. And I was like, okay. So the dog started thinking, wow, when this guy comes over and we're standing out in the yard, I just start getting shocked literally out of nowhere, unannounced, for no fucking reason. And this is like a tough, strong dog. So after like an afternoon of that, he said, actually, you don't get to do that to me anymore. So when you do that, I'm going to attack you. And it's like, oh, now mom's doing this to me too? Okay, I'll fuck you up too. It's like that. Like, a lot of dogs, like weaker dogs, most pet dogs, they'll just kind of learn to live with it. But you will get dogs that are like, dude, I'm not, like, imagine you're just like walking around in a park with someone, and periodically you just get shocked on the neck for literally no reason. And like, I talked about that, and people were just getting fucking triggered. It's like, dude, you're not going to convince me. Like, how is that? It's not contingent. They're like, no, that actually is contingent. So, well, wait, it's contingent if I'm just walking and suddenly someone comes up behind me and slaps me in the back of the head and then says duck. How the fuck does that make any sense? Anyways, oh, but it's not used at a level like that. So it's not a motivational level then. Well, no, it's still motivation. So then it's worth dodging then. It's worth escaping. Okay. Ridiculous.
Yep. And that's where, again, like, I think you fall into, like, that's kind of my point, is like, even if you're using backwards conditioning for like thinking that you're like, for the reasons that people want to do backwards conditioning, which is like, oh, I teach the dog how to escape the pressure, and then we add the cue and yada yada. Like, you still have to do the negative reinforcement well. You know, like, that's like, even that thing of like, oh, is it a motivational level or not? Like, is still a fundamental misunderstanding of negative reinforcement. No, I know. I hear you. I hear you.
Do it
I'm just
right,
like,
and like be fair from
yes.
square one. It's like, well, we're actually going to use the negative reinforcement in a way that's totally illogical, doesn't make any sense, but we're only doing that to set the foundation, because then we'll never do it again.
Well, and like, I think that's my point, right? Is like, yes, yeah, is like, the irony is that even the people that are setting the foundation sometimes in that way are like still doing the foundation badly, like that. Like, well, anyway, your point was fine. I'll give that my part.
No, you're not going to cut it. No cuts. So two things briefly. You ready?
Yes.
Dodge. Right?
Yep.
Like that. Should the announcement come first and the aversive be fair, and not so overwhelming that the dog just starts shutting off cognitive processes and starts fearing for its safety, right? And should there be a learning environment that's effective, conducive for learning to take place, and should there be a trust between the dog and the person, that can actually become fun. Like there's a thrill to dodging.
Absolutely.
Now, I find that in some dogs that is much more obvious than in others. Like with some, like I'm trying to think of who was a good example of that. Like even like Remy, like if she's kind of being sticky in the out and then I out her and she does it first, there's a glint in her eye. She's like, I know
Gotcha.
that.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
there's so it is hard for people to imagine that negative reinforcement could actually be thrilling to dogs, but it is to people, and it is also to dogs if done well,
Yes.
okay, and appropriately.
Yes.
The second thing,
I think too, like dogs, even like Mongoon, you can create an environment which they can learn that it can be thrilling. Like there are dogs definitely genetically like Remy that immediately off the bat are like,
yep.
Or even like my guess is the German Shepherd with the apartment, like he probably
They love
very
contact.
quickly will love
Contact, right?
Probably a dog that's super easy to create that relationship with negative reinforcement. But even the really shut down dogs, you can get them to understand, and it'll not be at the level of a dog who actually like just viscerally enjoys it. But if you can get that to happen with a really shut down dog, like that's magical, you know,
It's gorgeous.
And it's not this thing that's like unobtainable, not even programmed in their head. Like it is somewhere in there. It's just very, very, very deeply. Yeah. And like sometimes, you know, time limits, yada, yada, you can't really get there. But that to me is the ideal situation for sure.
100%. And there's also an entire another dimension to negative reinforcement training that I've said before is actually like my favorite way to train. But there was the Zoom call for the people that bought my my shelter program was the other day, and it was just kind of like an open question. And someone asked, yeah, it was cool. I mean, we went for over 2 hours. We could have kept going. It was a lot. And there was a lot of questions. But one of the questions was, I don't see the harm in adding. You talk so much about these no reward negative reinforcement sessions where you're out with the dogs walking or out off leash or something like that. I don't see the harm in adding in a variable schedule of reinforcement with food or something like that. Like why would you just to make the dog know that he's getting paid and like just kind of like making that pitch, right? And there's just something as soon as you start to I want to develop and maintain the sanctity of because I told you so. That's one of my responses. And I don't think I actually fleshed this side of it out enough, but like that is done through negative reinforcement. So if I start blurring the lines, I start to miss that, hey dude, you're out with dad for the day and there's not like lollipops in my pocket. It's the satisfaction of going out and being out with me in the world doing stuff. And sometimes I got to get on you a little bit and be like, hey, do this. And I have to insist. And that isn't, contrary to what some may believe, that isn't a dissuader. That actually gets you more locked in. Like, oh, yeah. Like, I'm on task. Like, I do that for the sake of doing that. Like,
clarity in that.
Being with you is reinforcing. Doing this with you is reinforcing. I don't need all of this extra shit. And that the basis of that is negative reinforcement. I mean, there's also a positive punishment angle. You can't let dogs have freedom like that out in the world without the threat of punishment. And yes, I said threat. That's literal. Someone clip that. Show better dogs or fuck themselves. So negative reinforcement in that way starts to develop that because I told you so in a really personal and non-inflammatory and like encouraging way. You know what I'm saying? It's developing the big word authority, the big word in TWC. It's like you're developing that authority with the dog in these really low stakes situations where the dog is learning how to interact with you in this means. And as soon as
I think too, that doesn't mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I was just going to say the last thing I'll say is as soon as you start to add in, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with adding in positive reinforcement sometimes, but like I like to keep that in my head and in my dog's mind because they also understand the context. That's the thing.
That's
They
exactly
get the
what I was gonna say.
context
Yep.
so fast. See, we're brothers.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
brothers. We're brothers. So they know it's like, hey, we're going out in town. I'm not appeasing dad, nudging him, looking for food. I'm not going into the down because he said so. And then if I don't get my treat, I get pissed and I'm agitated and now I'm being pushy and annoying. It's like, and you know, I don't go through an accidental like negative punishment feeling where it's like, well, I was supposed to get my paycheck. Like, no, and I as the handler don't have to worry about maintaining this variable schedule. You know what I mean? It's like, no, we just go out and we just do shit, right? When we go out in the woods, you don't check in with me for biscuits. You chase squirrels. And yeah, sometimes there's people over there and they don't like dogs. I call you. You just do it. And the dogs come flying back to me, dude. They jump out of their pants to get back to me. And that's off of negative reinforcement and verbal encouragement. So I like to keep those worlds segregated in that way. And then in the rewards outings, it's typically within play. I'll use a lot of heavy, obviously, like play is like a nuclear warhead of positive reinforcement opportunities. So,
because I think
yeah.
that's what I was saying. Is I think people hear you say like, "Oh, don't contaminate that on the outings," and then sort of assume that means you're never releasing into a reward from negative reinforcement.
People will assume that, and all I post is me playing with dogs.
Yes.
All I post is me playing with dogs, and people think I don't like positive reinforcement when it's like, it's so much of what I do. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, like people do get labeled by what they like, what feels different. Anyway, that's a whole nother like human nature topic. But absolutely, I firmly believe that dogs can understand, even with the same command, even with me going sit, or you miss the tug toy, or we're in the training building where I'm usually playing games and we're not doing we're not exploring, right? Like we're clearly not hiking. We're in the building. I can tell you sit, I can tell you heel, I can tell you down. And you know that there's sort of a different social contract for this context versus that context, but it doesn't degrade that because I stay clear. Like it's the same as like there's times that I want you to relax, there's times that we play. Like you can absolutely build a ton of clarity around when this sort of set of rules is in play versus this sort of set of rules. All that stuff still.
And here's some magic. Here's some magic. All right. You can put these on cue.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Want to play, and all done. And you can instantly watch the dog change from that calm satisfaction of being out with my person, doing stuff, into let's go in a blink. And then all done or enough or whatever cue you want to use to signal end of game, end of reward, whatever. And you can watch them go back to, and then they'll just go fuck off and roll in the grass. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And I think like just to kind of put some like practicality on this, I would honestly encourage people to practice. Like if you've been a little bit afraid of naming a command right off the bat with learning and negative reinforcement, or if you've done backwards conditioning before or whatever, like fallen into any of these pitfalls we've talked about, I would honestly challenge you to just go like tap on your leg and like once or twice on a dog's collar, get them to take a forward step and like start there. Like don't even feel like you have to start with a command, anything formal. Like you don't have to poison it. Like you can keep that completely like, oh, I feel like I don't want to touch that because I'm nervous about it. Start with something as trivial as like getting your dog to take a step forward, or I don't know, something even simpler. I'm trying to think of.
No, the coming into heel is a really poetic one because people treat it like it's this like nuclear equation. Like it's this, like you need to be on the touchpad for 3 months in your kitchen before, and it's like, dude, you could just like show the dog how to do it with the leash, and then sometimes throw a ball after.
Yeah.
Like it's just over.
Yep. Yeah, but like play with what the process looks like when you ask for a very simple behavior, starting with negative reinforcement, with the dog not knowing what, like, I'll go back to like pat your leg. Like pat your leg means come towards me. Start with that. See that the dog is going to be a little bit confused to start with, a little bit like, hey, why are you tugging on my collar, whatever, and see them come out the other side within like 10 repetitions. And like start to just observe what that process looks like. The fact that you don't have to do it harshly, like all this stuff, right? It like just find something that simple to play with and just watch the dog and stick with it. Because if you ruin you patting your leg and your dog is like,
Not a
oh,
big
that's
deal.
actually weird to me, like it doesn't fucking
Yeah.
matter. So like find
Right.
something like that where you can just, I don't know, throw away commands, throw away behavior, really, really simple, and just go through that process start to finish. And then
I would actually,
make
I
a
would
decision.
recommend,
Yeah.
I would recommend too, as much as I said about keeping sessions pure, within my play sessions, I obviously use a shitload of negative reinforcement too. I actually think that negative reinforcement, getting used to it within play, may be the best because
I think so too. The dog's motivation is already very
right,
high. Yeah.
right. You're going to naturally, from an emotional perspective, make the dog more resilient to the mistakes that you are going to make.
Correct.
That's just going to happen. Like, you have to go in accepting I'm just not, like, if I'm new to this, I may not do a great job, and it's totally fine. Within play, you keep the dog like active. You know what I mean? So I
And I think that's the
actually,
other thing where people do get like, I still if I make a mistake, it's always in like lifestyle negative reinforcement when the dog is not, they're not really thinking about moving. Like you can kind of sometimes catch them where they're just like, they're kind of sleepy or they're kind of just like not with it. And you're like, oh, we're going to ask you for something right now. And they're just like, what? And then you have to
Yeah.
kind of like put some pressure on to motivate them. And then maybe it's too much because they just were in like a weird, you know what I mean? Like if I start to be like, oh, that was a little bit not hitting the mark on the level of pressure or whatever it is, like it's always in a situation like that. Like play, the worst thing is that's going to happen is you're going to list your dog a little bit to some negative reinforcement, which like isn't great, but like you're not going to get like weird superstitious behaviors. Yeah.
And he's not going to like tap out of the session. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can keep him going, but that also speaks to play generally, how like the whole idea of these quick sessions, and it's actually like, if the dog wants to be there, you could be out there for a while. You know what I mean? And some dogs you can do like long if you're good. You know, like if you're boring, yeah, you should go do 5-minute sessions because the dog's gonna check out. If you go out and the dog wants to fucking play and you know how to play, you could train all day long. Not literally, okay? Someone's gonna say no.
There's a limit to physical stamina for sure.
Yeah, but I think that especially like with the negative reinforcement, like people think that it makes the dogs check out. It's like, well, your training probably just isn't.
Yeah.
It's just not. And by the way, too, like I do work with awful dogs, right? So like Breeze right now, he does. I've detected this natural limit where it doesn't matter if we're out like doing play and running off leash and or going for a walk, some combination of those things. Somewhere around an hour, I see his eyes glaze and he's looking for the car. And he's just like, and it wouldn't matter. Like he would take food and like all those things, but like I may even get him to play for a minute, but he hits a point where it's just like, I've hit my tolerance is starting to get triggered a little bit and I need to go be alone.
But he's just an introvert. It's okay.
He's an awful dog, right? So like he sucks. So it's like, and like I say that very endearingly. Like I love these dogs, but like he's not a really
mentally
nice
tough dog. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
or like a high motivation dog that's gonna go out and like want to do stuff. Like he'll be like, can't wait to go out. Let's go do it. And again, like around that 45-minute to like an hour and 15 something, he just is like, and he just, I'm taking him out to downtown Syracuse after this, and I did yesterday for the first time, just getting around as much traffic as possible, seeing a shit. And I learned some interesting things about them. It's not just the standard package delivery picture; it's actually people getting in and out of vehicles, um, which is very interesting. Because there was a guy in one of those industrial, like he's delivering those water jugs, those like office water jugs, and they've got those trucks where they can line up with like 500 of them. And he was just getting in and out of the back of his truck, and Breeze like really wanted to go see him. But what's interesting is that explosion is gone, but he very clearly is like, I want to go investigate. So interesting, whatever. Um, but but like I had him out yesterday. We were out for a while because we kind of just like got lost. Um, but on the way back, I could see him go from like this peppy to like, all right, dude, where the fuck's the car? Like, so you
Yeah,
need
my
to keep an
board
eye on
right
that.
now, his tail will be like for the first like half hour, 45 minutes, his tail's up and kind of like loose wagging. And then he just gets more and more sad and he starts plotting and the tail
Mhm.
goes down. Like he's just like,
Yeah,
it's like a very
it can
sad dog. And I'm like, oh, you're exhausted.
it can
He's just a
very much
lazy
be
dog.
physical. It can be very physical. It can be very emotional. Um,
Yeah.
like if you
Even
ever,
with working dogs, you'll see them like they have the energy to keep going. Like physically, they're still there, but like mentally, you can just see them kind of like that concentration is just inaccessible at that point where they're
and
like
I've seen
you
the
can see them
opposite too.
trying, but they're just like, oh my god, like there's nobody behind the eyes anymore. They're too hot. They're too, just
And
they will
I've
start
seen the
getting
opposite too at
yeah.
school, where the dogs, like for sure, you can see them mentally get, no, physically get fried or mentally get fried, and then on the other side, you can tell some dogs are walking off the field like dying, they're exhausted, but you can still see their
Yes.
eyes. They're like, I wish I could keep going. Like you can tell that they are still mentally on board, just physically, the heat or whatever it is. And those are like, these are your type of like elite, like high, those dogs that are meant for that type of thing. So with I think we were talking about negative reinforcement, but then like the topic of like short sessions, it's like, dude, you can also tailor that to the dog in front of you. You know what I mean? So it doesn't need to be, oh, we're introducing negative reinforcement. It's going to be a 45-second session because this dog is going to just check out. It's like, no, you could introduce it on a 2-hour hike if you wanted, if it was conducive, if that was a good learning environment for the dog, and he had that like the willingness and to participate and keep going. Now a dog like Mongoon, by necessity, like I typically introduce negative reinforcement out on a long line, out in a field or something like that, or like out in the woods. That's usually where I start. With Mongoon, because of his extreme issues, I'm going to have to start like in my living room, which is fine. But typically, like with your average, like when I was training just like good normal dogs, they want to be outside all day, dude. You can go out for an hour and a half and fuck around and get them, sit and then insist with the leash and then release them with no positive reinforcement. Sometimes you do, so it doesn't have to be like this. Oh, we're going out to teach the meaning of negative reinforcement. It's going to be a drag. Therefore, we need to keep this bang bang and run inside. It's like, well, if you're factoring in the dog's personality and his own limitations and if you're factoring that in, and you're like, well, this is a really lively dog and he's checking out in 3 minutes, there's something you're doing wrong. Almost guaranteed there's something you're doing wrong. And that goes for if you're using food too, or if you're playing, like there's something you are doing wrong. But it's all relative. Like me getting Breeze to play hard for 5 minutes is a huge accomplishment. There are other dogs where if he only played for 5 minutes, you'd be like, I'm doing something, I'm fucking up.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think don't be afraid of negative reinforcement is kind of the in conclusion to that. Do you have any other like myths that I'm trying to think like what else could people potentially have kind of
Well, I mean,
questions or bad habits about?
there's like the overall, and like the balance side is just allowed this to happen, and a lot of us have like taken this into our psyche. The whole idea that aversives inherently cause fallout is insane. like like the fact that we have so-called balanced trainers afraid of fallout is nuts. Like that, guys, if you're afraid of fallout, you're a bad dog trainer. Like if you are inflicting fallout, if you're afraid because people told you to be afraid, I sympathize with you, and I would say that you need to trust the shit that you see in front of you and start trying to get better at training dogs. If you're afraid of fallout because you are consistently inflicting fallout on dogs, that means you're bad, dude.
Yeah.
That has
And
nothing
for
to do with
for
dog
dog
collars.
trainers, like the other thing is like you are gonna have some moments where, like, this is the unfortunate part. I think you made the comment with one of your past trained, but like where unfortunately the dogs are going to be subject to some mistakes as we're learning.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there are going to be situations where they're going to be a little stressed. It's going to be a little bit shitty for them. But like you kind of have to go through that, and that's okay.
My
So like,
thought process, this is my thought
the
process.
fallout of like you're a bad dog trainer if you follow it consistently. Yes, but I also, for our audience that are trying to explore this, these kind of concepts, it's okay if you accidentally stress a dog out a little bit. Like it's
So
not the end of the
this is
world. You'll recover them. They'll recover. They're resilient creatures. Like
this is
raising kids, you're gonna make fucking mistakes. Like
this is so
that's just
frustrating to me
reality.
because
Yeah.
I can't relate because I just when I'm bad, like if I'm really bad, if I'm staring at something, it's like I'm really bad at this, and I want to learn how to do this, and I need to be good at this because, like in this case with dogs, there's other living things that are subjected to my mistakes. My thought process isn't to avoid and go as slow as possible. It's to hit the gas pedal through the floor and to try to get as many reps as possible to erase this time frame of me being bad. So like I want to be bad for as little time as possible, which means I get to work right now, right? I get to work right now. I stop hiding because I know that if I don't get good at this, my training is suboptimal. It's bad, right? So instead of just creating a bunch of these myths, these convenient myths about all of these scary things, I would rather just be bad for this really condensed period of time, try really hard to
Yep.
get better, and then just be better.
Yep. But yeah, people
That's
are punished for going through that learning. But like,
oh my god,
again, this is a broader
We don't have to.
cultural problem.
We
But
don't
like,
have to. We don't have to.
that's what I'm kind of speaking to, right? Is like, you are not a bad person if you have to be bad before you are good. Like that
Right.
is normal
Right.
fucking learning. Like that's how it works.
Yeah, it's
With
like
the
oh
dogs
wow,
and
it's
with
like
people.
wow
So
that fucking burnout trailer park retard canine Opticuck's gonna make a video about you. It's like yeah, dude, cool. He doesn't train dogs, so who cares? Like you shouldn't be afraid. Like you shouldn't be afraid of these people. You should hate these people. You shouldn't be afraid of them. And you don't have to publicize everything that you don't have to be like I
and I think
am on a
even
tear
out of
for a
like
reason.
dog space, unfortunately, like the public looks at prong collars and goes, "Oh my gosh, you have a spike collar," and you know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's even shit like that kind of people end up getting a little bit nervous about, which again I totally understand is like
But
shitty
get
position to
good.
be in. But
So get good, right? And then show it. Fuck it. And you're by the way, when you're good, you're still gonna fuck up. It's just what happens. It's okay. Like it's okay. Yeah, we had a brief conversation before the show started about how you get these fucking degenerate vampires, dude, that are like, we need to all get better together and show and like we hold hands and everybody gets better. And then like somebody posts something bad and they just get fucking slaughtered. And like they post something bad in good faith, right?
that's the thing. That's the thing. Yeah.
And then apologize for it and give their perspective and then continue to get slaughtered. It's like, well, no, you don't want people to get better. You want to look like you're
Right.
yeah. Okay.
Right. Like, yeah, punish the bad behavior, but then when it changes, reward it. Like
And then when you see
why are we not doing good
Yeah.
dog training on people? Anyway,
I'm not
it's fine.
I don't want to get the show flagged, but I was about to talk about like, you know, improvised explosives and stuff and things that I wish would happen to some of these guys. It's
Yeah.
like fuck man, I hate I hate dog trainers. I hate them. So yeah, that I think that sort of like the easy thing to get wrapped up in with a dog like Mongoon is like how cool it would be to get the dog to play it for sure. Like that I am also like really locked in like I'm gonna be obsessive with getting that going. But the sort of like sleeper hit is how he reacts to negative reinforcement. There was a dog, okay. There was like a collaborative conversation, bunch of like a shitload of dog trainers, and we're talking about a case dog that it was submissive peeing. It was like excessive submissive peeing. And just like in a logical way, like it's a well-bred dog in a nice home and whatever. fuck, did I give away too much? This could get back to people. I'm not going to say anything bad. I'm just going to be honest, right? Yeah, Dylan. Yeah. You're just going to be honest, Dylan. So I knew immediately from this trainer's background, who has a background in forestry training and is converted over being a good person and wanting to actually know how to train dogs. I was like, how's the dog's reaction to negative reinforcement? Bad. Like, okay, like, how bad are we talking here? Like, dramatic? Yeah. Okay. So you can bet that dog has been, because it's like, oh, it's a flighty dog that's scared and insecure, and because of the background of the training, certainly almost guaranteed there's been this heavy, like, avoidance positive reinforcement approach. And I would incorporate those things, but the negative reinforcement is the canary in the coal mine there. It's like, okay, you've got this dog that is submissive peeing that, like, breaks if you pop a leash to get her to sit. Well, we can start there, dude. And, like, by start there, I don't mean like we build up to it. I mean like 3 days ago. I mean like 3 private lessons ago. So we get this dog to realize that the world doesn't end if I tell you to sit and then I help you. That will build a much more psychologically well-rounded, healthy dog. It's the
Because
opposite.
like what's really interesting about a dog like that is their default response to any perceived pressure is immediately to go into like fight, friends.
Risk
Oh my
management.
god.
Right.
Yes, like a hardcore appeasement behavior, but that's coming from feeling overwhelmed, feeling in that like fight or flight state. And the thing we have to do is give the dog a tool, or at least like a kind of tool, whatever, right? Give the dog the idea that they can resolve pressure via behavior that is not hardcore appeasement. And you see a ton of dogs getting stuck there. Like, again, it's always the fucking golden retriever. Anyway, not to go off on fucking golden retrievers, but like oftentimes it is a dog thinking that their only option to resolve stress is to do these really, really dramatic behaviors. And that's where like fitting in negative reinforcement, like adding that as part of the program, shows a dog that there's a gradation of stress and stress responses. Like not every little bit of stress is completely life altering or an emergency or whatever. Like you can survive, you can get through it, you can in fact do something about it actively and proactively eventually. But yeah,
could you imagine the sessions I would shoot with that dog? People would be gunning for me. Where I say sit, dog doesn't sit. I start to apply the leash, the dog dives to the floor, whatever, rolls over, and then I use like my hands or my foot to get the dog, to pressure the dog back up. People would lose their fucking mind. It'd be awesome. It'd be really good for the dog. It'd be really good for the dog, and it'd be really good for people to see. But I'm hoping that Mongoon gives me some of those moments where it's like,
yeah,
this
is
is
exactly the stuff
extremely,
people are afraid of.
right.
Yeah.
This is extremely appropriate for the dog. And it's also something that should not be true, that people don't want to believe, that is holding everyone back at like violent catastrophic levels.
But yeah, giving dogs a sense of agency and a sense of control is so huge, and that doesn't happen only through through positive reinforcement. Yeah.
Diving to the floor and pretending to be dead does not get you out of here.
Correct.
Right? It's like, hey, hey, come on. Like, it's okay, sit. That gets you out of here.
Right? And I think too, there's the other part of that of the dog thinking that if they don't do that, like I think we talked about this way early on in an episode where like the dog truly does believe that if they don't do that behavior, they're going to die.
Right.
So like showing them that like, hey, I can actually put you in another position. Nothing bad happened. In fact, good stuff probably is going to happen on the back end, because we're going to I'm going to release you. We're going to hang out, have a good time, whatever, right? Have a social interaction that's positive, and just breaking, like sometimes dogs get stuck in that behavior. It's not really a superstitious behavior per se all the time, but like we'll call it a superstitious behavior for the sake of discussion. But they really
you fucked up the
landing
on that 3 times.
I know. I'm so sorry. It's
Super
fine.
no. It's really fun. I can't say effortlessly. I just said it for the first. That's the first time.
Effortlessly? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say
That's
that one.
funny.
But keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm really struggling with like my S's today. There were a couple other words that I just like totally fumbled. But yeah, like showing the dog that it is possible to be in this situation and for you to not do that behavior and not die. Like I really think a lot of dogs are genuinely convinced that if they don't throw out that crazy appeasement behavior or the reactivity or what have you, that like that is actually they believe it's completely necessary and are very, very committed to that. So just showing them like even if you didn't use negative reinforcement there, but just blocked them out of it, oftentimes is like, whoa, and can
Right.
really shift the dog's mindset on that. And also adding negative reinforcement is obviously.
So that is so the prerequisite that I need before I can start doing this is very simple, but could take a very long time, which is I need consensual buy-in, right? Like he has to actually want to be with me doing stuff. And I haven't, with how brutal this dog is, I don't know how long. It could be 2 days, it could be 2 months. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I
That
would
is
not.
actually a very, very good point though, too, for negative reinforcement, like back to because I think a lot of people again hear negative reinforcement. It's like we have this language about like, oh, you must do it, you have to do it just because I told you to, authority, etc. And like it can sound like authoritarianism instead of authoritativeness. And there's a very big difference between the two of those.
Mhm.
And a lot of dogs we can kind of just assume that they're already bought in, want to sort of figure out how
Yep.
to cooperate, all like all of that stuff. There's that sort of consensual aspect to the relationship. But what I was kind of trying to say before about like the signal and the noise, that is exactly that. Like if the dog is already like fuck all this, fuck you, and then you try to apply pressure, good fucking
Yep.
luck. Like that is not going to be interpreted the way that you want it to be
Correct. But here's a cool one. Here's another
Just
cool
pile
one.
on. Yeah.
Here's a cool one, okay? A weakness of positive reinforcement.
Mhm.
A weakness of positive reinforcement with a dog like that, or any dog that just like doesn't want to be near you, is that the dog's motivation to take the food or chase the ball can in some instances override his disdain for being near you. And for brief windows can give you a false positive that actually this dog is ready to start training. It's like, no, dude, he's just hungry. You know what I'm saying? And like I think that causes catastrophic foundational issues. You just like especially if day one you are just Mr. Treat Man. Like I question if the dog ever thinks of you anything in any way other than that, I guess. And I suspect that they often don't. But yeah, we will see. We will see. But what you are not going to see is me drag him out of the crate into the living room and start trying to make him down. That's not what's going to happen. I need to see.
And again, I know that's what some people are picturing. I know that
Oh
like
yeah,
unfortunately that does kind of come with some of the languaging around negative reinforcement and around punishment and stuff like that is like it's harder sometimes to talk about these more like vague concepts of like
Yeah.
building I guess building the dog's motivation first. It like that's kind
Mhm.
of but like it's not building the motivation in a way of food and treats and toys. It's building motivation in terms of like I
social.
want
It's
to
like
be friends
social
with you.
interaction.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
That's very difficult to like put language around and get people to understand what that looks like.
But
It's
that's where they're
wow,
stuck. That's where they're
important.
stuck with him.
Yes.
They're stuck with him over there across the pond. They're stuck where like in some instances he'll like take some food, and in some instances he'll kind of stand around you. But there is no like you and me. You know what I mean? Like let's go. Like nothing. There's no. I even think that again. I said this in my Patreon video. I cannot believe people have turned this into a business model, but talking about other trainers and speculating about them before talking to them first. Like I can't even saying this. It's like we don't share a language. I don't know these guys. I can't just call them and get clarification. So I have to do some speculation. Fair. Shout out the mascot. And it still makes me ill, right? The fact that people just do this as a habit. They're just like, that trainer's video, I don't know them. I don't know what the goal was. I don't know what happened to the dog. I'm going to try to ruin his life. The fact that people do that, like you should be executed, dragged out in front of your home, shot in the back of the head. Probably need to mute that part. So
I'm gonna have to do a lot of bleeping out on this one. We're like 5 subscribers away from monetization, and you just
So-
ruined all of it. So,
but yeah. Shout out. This is why we don't do a live show. But what was I saying?
I got distracted by Surfer because she was making a lot of very deep grunting noises.
So I do have to speculate a little bit about how, like, what's going on with them and that dog over there. And supposedly he does have a guy.
Okay.
He does not.
Sad.
No, he does not. Like that they think of it that way. I seriously doubt it. Like they are, because the dog is so atrocious, he's so messed up. I think that they see like a 1% tolerance to a person, and they're like fucking doing jumping jacks and fucking, it's like, no, dude, no, like that. You are getting nothing remotely resembling what is needed to roll the ball and get this dog to start to think differently about his life. Like he needs a guy, like a solid fucking dependable guy, that when he comes to get me out of the crate, I'm not just thinking about, oh, he's gonna fill the food bowl. It's like, I wonder what I'm doing today with my guy. That he needs that so bad, like some sort of hope. You know what I mean? Some sort of like something to look forward to. And you can't. Dogs need a person. Like he needs a person. So that's going to be the foundation. It's like, I don't know. It's just this waiting room we're basically going to be sitting in until that happens. There is a slight advantage though. There's a slight advantage. The atomic warhead level novelty bomb that's going to go off from him moving to another country, and being in a totally different environment has a chance, if I handle him well, to put him into a state of enough flux to create a different, like, to create malleability in his mind.
Yeah.
And that could carry a lot of weight. I don't know. It's all speculation until I actually get him. But to tie it back to the negative reinforcement thing, and then I gotta go because I actually unfortunately have to go. Well, actually, I'm looking forward to walking Breeze. We're in end stage training. It's like nice now. And it's not that cold anymore. It's just still cold. But the negative reinforcement, like I'm telling you guys, the fact that people are afraid to use negative reinforcement with just like normal dogs, and one of the first things I'm thinking about doing with the worst dog I've ever seen in my life is using negative reinforcement. So square that with what you've been told and what you see out of my dogs. And what you'll see with my goat, well, again, like, I could be wrong. I'll show you. You'll see the dog. If you see him getting worse or not getting better, then yeah, I was wrong. But that is my gambit. I'm telling you, like, I'm going in betting on negative reinforcement with him. So you should not be afraid to explore it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good one.
I think this is productive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was.
Kept it relatively hinged. Go through with the wand and take out the slurs and the threats, and
It's mostly the KYS
and the machine guns and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
KY money symbol. I love a good KY money symbol. I had someone showing me screenshots of me saying that to someone as like, I caught you. It's like, I say that on purpose, dude. What are you talking about?
You typed that on the internet and hit post.
Typed that and hit post. And then I screenshotted it and put it on my story so that more people would see it. Like, what, you're not. Anyways, yeah. Thanks for watching the show, everybody. Next time we'll have, I'll be able to talk about the Remy go home process. Wrapping up Breeze's training because he's going home next weekend. So we're going to be doing the final proofing with like the package cars and stuff. That's sort of my plan for taking him downtown, is there's so much traffic and we see all of these vehicles. I've got I got a shitload of dogs coming. This is like the calm before the storm with me, and it doesn't even feel particularly calm. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of dogs coming, boys. So stay locked in.
How many dogs in your house?
Ripley, Scout, Harrison, Fritz, Remy, Breeze right now. And then on Sunday, Chip is coming to visit. And then there's going to be like 3 dog crossovers with Bazooka, Aries, and Mongoon It's going to be a nightmare in zero bristle.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Have fun. See you guys later.